there's been a lot of talk, and I'm probably a little bit too in the weeds on this in the Twitter sphere in terms of the conversation between Pac-12 and Big 12. But there has been talk from the Pac-12 side of the Big 12 really trying to destabilize things using Endeavor, this company that's been helping them out throughout this entire process. How much truth do you think there is in that, in the Big 12 trying to be a real disruptive force in a lot of different ways here as we go through news cycle after news cycle of this?
I mean, there's a lot of leaks from the Big 12. Big 12's constantly talking about, it's constantly these stories. We got a plan. We're trying this, we're trying that. And so, yeah, there's probably a little bit of that. I don't know whether it works. I don't know whether it gets a school to jump. I think I don't know how much panic there is there. It's sort of like it's kind of obvious what's going to happen if the number isn't good enough. But destabilization is a thing. I mean, if you look at the Pac-12, they sat there and said, did Fox not only take, Fox needed more better programming for the Big Ten. How big of a role did they play in USC and UCLA leaving? And in doing so, driving down what if the television rate for the Pac-12 as a third option. So the TV networks, if anything, are running this thing. Endeavor is heavily involved in that. But how much is just people sour? It's only destabilizing if anyone's listening, and I don't know that anyone's really listening. I don't feel that. Look, I could be wrong. Conference realignment. I mean, if you told me, a day before UCLA and UCLA left, I would have been like, "What?" And if you told me the day before UT and Oklahoma left, I'd be like, "What?" So you don't know. But the destabilization only works if people panic, and I don't sense a lot of panic right now amongst the Pac-12 schools. They just want to get settled for the time being.
Well, we saw with the ACC that there was an effort by the schools that joined together trying to look through that grant of rights, parse through it. They're clearly unhappy with what the financial situation is going to be, and rightfully so. As it moves forward in the future with their rivals in the Big Ten and the SEC making so much more money, I guess I'll frame the question to you this way: like, how long is the ACC as we currently know it for this world? How long will that continue to exist?
Yeah, and kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like the ACC expanded, and now they're sitting there saying, "Man, some of these teams we expanded to really aren't helping us at all." And so I think what you have is you have Clemson, you have Florida State, you have Miami, Carolina, NC State. Some of them sitting there saying we're competing head to head with SEC programs, often in state, our arch rival. And they're going to make 20, 30 million more a year. And I mean, that just adds up year after year after year. Can we get more? Can we close that gap somehow? And so that's why they're looking at that. But they'd have to want the SEC to want them. They'd have to want the SEC to go to 20 teams or something like that, or the Big Ten to go to 20 teams. But certainly, I think they sit around and go, "Geez, what does Syracuse and BC bring into the table here? What are we getting out of this? Do we have too much?" So I don't know. I don't know how long. My guess. Here's the thing: there's too many good players and coaches out there for there to only be like 2 leagues and 50 teams. I mean, it's just too many good until the talent dries up. Like the NFL sets an arbitrary bar on what is a good player. You're either in the NFL or you're not. But as long as there's 100 something colleges playing, there's 10,000 players. There's more good players than just 50 teams worth of players. And so you can still be a really good football team and not be in one of these 2 leagues, because these 2 leagues can't sign everyone, and they're going to make mistakes. And some kids are just going to say, "Hey man, I'm from Wichita. I want to play at Kansas. I'll play at Kansas. I'm from Dallas. I just want to play for TCU. I'm good." Or they transfer back, or so many variables. So you can't really keep these teams down just by saying, "Oh, if you're not an SEC player, you're not good." That's not how it works. So there's too many good players and too many good coaches. And for all the bells and whistles about money, there's going to be enough money for. I'm not really worried about Clemson and Florida State and things like that fielding good football teams or it being an exciting place to play football. So I think that there's a little more parity than people want to talk about. I don't think Florida State is all of a sudden going to sit there and say, "Well, Indiana football is in the Big Ten. They got more money than us. We'll never be good." You take the Big 12, they've never had as much money as these schools. They can't. like you can't create. You go to the Big Ten and they got Chicago and Detroit and Minneapolis and Cleveland and Columbus and all these big cities, and you just can't create that. That's okay. They still have something else, and they have been able to compete. Or there's no way for Iowa to have okay, Iowa may have more money, but Clemson's an hour and a half from Atlanta, 2 hours from Atlanta. So everyone has different advantages, and money isn't just everything.
Well, Dan, before I let you go, I am selfishly going to have to ask this question. I'm in Kansas City, but I'm a K-State guy. So have you been to Manhattan, Kansas? And if so, what were your impressions of Manhattan, Kansas?
I've been a couple times. It's been a while though. It's awesome, right? Great. I mean, it takes a while to get there. But once you once you're there, right? Once you're there, yeah, classic college town, unbelievable passion, everything purple, great crowds. I've seen a couple basketball. I've never been there for a football game. I've been there for a couple basketball games at different times, but I love it. I love a good classic college town, and it's one of the things I love about the old Big 12 and these communities like that, and Ames and even Lincoln and Lubbock and all these places where you're a long way from pro sports, but this is your sport, and those people that go every time. So that's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing. Should K-State be able to compete? Like, no, but it always has. So it's never had as much money. It's never had as many resources. It's never had a recruiting base like these other schools, yet it's always there. So like, just because there's like, why does that change if there's a little bit more money somewhere? People still want to go and say, you know what? This is an incredible place to play athletics. This is a great school. It's a great community. This is going to be fun for me. I want to go play here.
Love it. We may not have the water that Ames does, but
No.
Manhattan's still not bad. Not bad.
Not bad. Flint Hill's got to get their water together, I guess. I don't know. I never really thought about it when I tried the water. I'm sure I drank water while I was there, and I didn't think to really taste test it.
Yeah, well, Ames has changed the game. They've changed the game on everybody. Hey, Dan, really appreciate you doing this. Enjoy the podcast. We'll keep listening to it, and take care.
Anytime, man. Appreciate it.